Hello, my name is Air Angel. Welcome to the Air Show, aka the Vroom Vroom broadcast, unofficial titles. I am going over the speedrun for Mobility. It is a free indie game on itch.io by Auroriax, aka Tom H. And we're just gonna get on into it. So the whole premise of this game is you are a repairman on a spaceship and you are trying to fix it. And in order to fix it, you have to jump on certain platforms to turn everything on. This first part right here is the tutorial, just so you can jump past some pesky little jumper-rooney ladders. That is not what they're officially called, but that's what I'm calling them. So we have four major sections. This is Arrowhead. I really enjoy this music, and I just absolutely love the art and the aesthetics that it brings. It is very good for a casual game as well as a speedrun. And so right at the beginning there, before I started the level, you saw there were four different categories. We have radius, contacts, and the other two are the most difficult levels, which is transparent and growth. So transparent means every time you touch a platform, it disappears, and growth, every time you touch a platform and leave the platform, it turns into electricity. But this run right now is just contact mode, which is pretty much the normal mode, excuse me. Radius is you just have to be in the vicinity of the block and it will turn on or off. So far so good in this run. I absolutely love the little character, the little blocky dude. You do get custom skins when you finish all of the rooms on a single level, as it were. Or section. So if you finish a section, you get a new skin, and I will be showing those in a few minutes. Not a whole lot of people speedrun this, so the routing is still very up in the air. So this overall time that we're going over today is about 19 minutes 30 seconds in-game time. As you can see on the top left corner, it's a little blocked off, but the game does have an in-game timer, and I do move it over towards the end so you can see it. What's really nice about this level in general is it's pretty simple and straightforward. There's also more than one way to get to places, and I think that's what is going to be most important in terms of routing and figuring out the most optimal route, is I don't think anyone has timed each individual levels with like double skipping and double skipping versus walking. So double skipping is just if you hold down your joystick right there, that's a single skip. So double skip is when you kind of turn, you do a full turny turn. Again, not official terms, but that's what I call it. He does a little flex at the end, it's cute. So right there we just unlocked the cat. I didn't select it in this video. More than likely just forgot. So skipping through text right here and going off to the left. I really do enjoy this section just because there's a lot of movement and gears in the background, but it also brings an awesome Japanese aesthetic. So right here is a good demonstration of resetting at checkpoints. So there are checkpoints throughout the entire game and levels in terms of using contact mode. The other harder difficulties, like the difficulty settings, do not have save points, so they are a lot more difficult. Like I said, there aren't a lot of people that run this, so the other harder categories are not explored, I should say, in terms of a speedrun. This game could be very difficult very quickly, I'll just say that. I found with the other difficulty levels, this game does pretty much a 180, is a very different game. So that's something to consider in the future if you want to speedrun it or play casually. I think this mode is too easy for you. No worries, there are more difficult settings you can turn it to. So the developer pretty much developed this game in 2 years on his free time. And I believe that's why it's on itch.io and it's free, just to contribute to the gaming world. Get those good positive vibes and chill. So as I mentioned before, the low skip, you pretty much hold down at an angle and you skip to the side. That is the most optimal way to jump. But right there, what just happened was they let us know that you can go to the next section. So this category is the all levels category, so pretty much we go through every single door in every section. So technically speaking, you don't have to finish every single door in order to advance to the next section, which is kind of nice for either new runners. You could do any %, which is just complete the amount of doors possible to move to the next section. Because some of the levels at first are very difficult. But I really enjoy the all levels category just because, well, for one, you get the really cool skins, and for two, it's just, I don't know, it's satisfying. So right here, I'm checking the map. It does provide a map of each section, excuse me, and you can check and see if you completed them. Towards the very end of the video, I do check the overall map just to make sure I completed the levels. The timer does stop after you defeat the boss and you speak to the boss at the very end. Right here we have a little ninja dude. I did select this skin. I think he looks like a Santa Claus. So far we're just fixing the ship. This is Meteor. I really enjoy this section particularly just because of the layout, where it's the library, the engine room, and the dining room. So right there I just realized you have to go back and get those. I could have respawned back at the save point, but I didn't. Try to save a little bit of time. That last jump right there is a little tricky. We're headed to the engine room now. Little droppy drop down. So technically this category isn't 100%. 100% is finishing all the levels in all of the difficulties, and I don't believe anybody has submitted a time for that yet. It would be interesting to see how long that would take. And all levels for me in contact mode is anywhere between 19 to 20 minutes. So right here is the new dynamic that is introduced, are these arrows. They are very sharp, and they will make you respawn. Sometimes you have to wait. Be patient. And obviously, the rotating little gears you see are actually spikes. Ooh. Almost fell off there. And again, if you do get lost, you can check your map. Obviously, in a speedrun, you want to try to not check it as much as possible, so you can go fast. And I really just like the physics and game dynamics of this platformer. So if you look on the itch.io website for this game, the developer specifically says that he wanted to open up the platformer category to more people. Some platformers are relatively difficult, so in order to make everyone kind of feel welcome, he created different difficulties. Obviously, as we mentioned before, just so everybody can find that perfect spot in terms of their abilities. So even with contact mode, I feel is a little difficult probably for some people. The radius mode is probably the difficulty setting for you. But if you want a little more challenge, obviously you can go to the other two as well. A little satisfying drop there. So the section is fixed, but since we're doing all levels, we are going back and finishing up these last three. And I do really like the wave pushes here. They pretty much just shove you in the direction you need to go, most times. Sometimes you have to go against the grain, especially if you miss a block or two. Specifically in this section, I use the restart as a save point drop, because there's one block that if you don't hit the wave perfectly right here, you end up falling. So I kind of go a backwards way of getting it, which isn't the end of the world, but obviously not the fastest. And since we missed that block down there, we're going to try to, there we go, drop it on in. We're gonna head back up to the last room in the dining room. Missed the block. I do kind of like he has some little contrails behind him when he jumps and falls. See the little shadows behind the skin. It's really cool. And so we just unlocked the best skin in the game. This is Toast. Toast hype. Yes, you get to play a video game as a piece of toast, and it's amazing. So pretty much what's going on right now is the trainee finds out that everything is broken and all of the employees are locked up, and we don't know why. So in this section, instead of turning everything on, what we're trying to do is turn the security off to figure out what's going on at headquarters. Everything's kind of going crazy. This is day one for us, guys. Remember, we are a trainee day one on the spaceship, and apparently we need to save the company and, I guess, the world of coworkers. Gonna do a reset there, a little jump. Hey, and I love the toast animation coming out of that toaster. Happy happy brain. Sliding in under that. Yep. There we go. So this section is pretty difficult. There are a couple ways to do it. I usually try to go under and then back up over. What you probably need to do is skirt under that big block right there. And then make a wave down. We're waiting for this little platform, little arrows. So when the arrows are down, it kind of looks like hearts. That's kind of cute. And the reason why I wanted to bring up the speedrun is I think it's a really good run for new runners out there that, you know, don't want to invest a whole lot in buying an expensive game, but a game that you feel like it's worthwhile to play. And obviously you could donate to the developer on itch if you feel like it, and if you can. And the routing, again, the routing isn't set in stone. There is a speedrun page for this, but it is not optimized by any means. So if you wanted to jump into your first speedrun and try to figure it out on your own, this is a great one to start. And it's not overly difficult. You don't have to remember super complicated patterns. Just a bunch of practice, really. I feel like if anybody could run this game, and it's a pretty solid game to run. And again, the more talented you get, the more categories you could run in terms of frame difference. So that is the boss room, but we're not going in there yet. We are going to get these last two levels. So again, we're trying to turn everything off, so the circuits go from black to white. We're trying to disable security. Security? Toasty jump. And then after getting these blocks, it is just quicker if you reset at the spawn point, so that's what we did here. Alright, one more room to go before the boss. I also really, again, I just really enjoy this art because it kind of reminds me of engineering paper. Reset. This is a really fun level. Respawning at that point is not the best move, but it's alright, we're gonna keep going. Gotta rock with the waves a little bit. Toast. Alright, on to the boss. So the boss levels are the same concept of what we were doing before. So we are turning everything off. And so the text there that you just missed, so this is actually the boss of the company. Like the actual boss of the company. And apparently the company went under, so he decided to just wreck everything. Why? I don't know. He just kind of goes crazy. So maybe he wanted to tell his evil plan. First of all, is it really a villain if it doesn't just tell you its evil plan, like right when you're fighting them? Of course. So you see the little fuzzies around them, that is actually electricity. So obviously you don't want to hit the electricity. Got pretty unlucky there. Usually you can evade the shooting arms, and that's the boss. Little toast action. And that's mobility. So I moved the screen a little bit over so you guys could see the timer. But you can continue the game even after you played it to get better times, and you can also look at your times and the map here. I'm gonna pause this real quick so you can see that we finished all the levels in every section, and it will actually give you the best time that you do it. So if you keep this save file, you can also go back and retry every single room to get a better score, and also try every single room under all the difficulties. So it's really nice for speedrunners. Again, really awesome first run for people that are just diving into platformers. And I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. And this has been Mobility.